So leveraging social media in the pandemic. Let's just start with a deep breath, knowing that in truth there is no distance between us, and so we give thanks for the gift of technology to allow us to connect in new and different ways during this specifically challenging time. And so it is. And just to let you know how I plan to format this, I have 3 guests on the line, Reverends Aaron McCabe, Kevin Ross, and Temple Hayes, who have joined. And I'm really asking them because they are, in church ministry. And so my questions for them are going to be around how they have shifted their use of social media and what the results are that they're seeing. And, what we all know is that we are in real time with this. Things are unfolding day by day, sometimes hour by hour. So that's why I thought it was prudent to have other voices on the call to just sort of weigh in. And we also have some different geography represented by the 3 of them. I've divided this presentation into three elements: content, engagement, and insights. Content will be about what we post, how often we post it, and what the nature of the posts are. Engagement is going to be about engagement, right? How do we demonstrate engagement on social media, and also how do we cultivate engagement? How do we get people to be social on social media? And then insights, which is something I often haven't been able to get into too much detail with, even in the expert level seminars, because there's just so much to it. But I want us to be able to spend some time on that. And I'll actually use the UWM Facebook page to demonstrate how to access your insights so that you can monitor what is working and what isn't, which is always a good practice to have, but especially right now when you may be shifting how you are using social media, it's really important that you have somebody or a couple of somebodies with their eyes on your insights. And those are your metrics for the posts that you create. So let's start with content. And in this, we'll cover posting frequency and saturation. And I'm including saturation because I think, what we are all seeing is that like every musician, famous and local, are, creating live concerts. Artists are creating, live demos of artwork. Ministers are creating readings of daily words and live meditations. And everybody else outside of the work of ministry are using that live video function on Facebook and Instagram to reach out and engage connection right now. And I think that's amazing. And I am keeping an eye on the saturation point with that. And I'm curious if there's going to be sort of this information overload experience. We were just talking before the call started about how hard it is right now to just keep up with email. And, social media, while we might be isolated in our homes, there is a different type of energetic draw that social media has on our brains and our heart spaces. And so I think that's something in the work of ministry that we want to be mindful of. In the same way, we wouldn't schedule, a super heady Fillmore retreat for 10 hours in one day with maybe one short break to eat, or you can just have snacks while we're, really doing these, hardcore metaphysics. That wouldn't be healthy for somebody's brain and probably wouldn't yield very good interaction from a group. So we want to be careful how we are engaging social media in the same way that we aren't oversaturating the people who follow us. Most studies agree, and this, I present this all the time, and this is still true even now, that most studies agree that once per day for Facebook is optimal, with a maximum of 2 posts per day. So you can also release yourself of the pressure and stress of trying to create more content because people are our physical situations have changed and contexts have changed. We don't have to change the behavior on Facebook, on social media for that. And the reason is, or the result is, if you look at the next line, pages with under 10,000 experience a 50% drop in engagement per post if they post more than once per day. And the reason for that is because the way the Facebook algorithms are designed, if you are saturating, if you're creating a posting 7-8 times a day, they are actually going to feed your posts to fewer people. So you will be penalized in a way if you have under 10,000 likes. If you have over 10,000 likes, there's a different algorithm, but it still stands true that 1 to 2 times per day is really ideal and plenty for Facebook if you want your post to reach the most people. Instagram is different. Instagram, you can post as many times as you want, 7 to 8 times a day actually being ideal for Instagram. So if you want to get more information out there or more, inspirational posts, whatever content you put out, if you're wanting to do it more frequently and if you see a need for that in your community, Instagram is going to be the way to go with that. And again, it's not that you can't on Facebook, but Facebook in the back end is going to penalize you for that and not let as many people see your posts. So people will have to actually come to your page and look for it. And just think about your own behavior on Facebook. How often do you actually go to a page? Usually you're just scrolling through your news feed and seeing posts in that way. So at a minimum, you should post to your Facebook page 3 times per week. That's minimum. And not more than 1 to 2 times per day. If you go less than 3 times per week, you will also sort of be punished by Facebook because you won't have the engagement that you want in order for them, the algorithms, to really keep you in the mix. And again, this information is not unique to our pandemic. I think it's just really important that we remind ourselves during this time that it's not just about the emotional desire to, or even an idea that right now we have to really reach out with social media and email or different digital forms of communication. We just want to really keep in mind that the way Facebook is structured, there's a reason that we want to keep to the optimal posting frequencies and keep an eye out for saturation. And this is kind of review if you've been to one of my seminars before, but again, it's really important right now because I think we are all in this sort of space of needing structure. And, many of us having had our regular structure in our lives sort of yanked and having to create a new way of living, just our day-to-day routines. So in the same way, the way that we post, the content that we post on Facebook or on any social media platform, really just sort of two categories that you want to look at the content. Is it functional? Is it relational? And yes, it can be both. And if you see the star there at the bottom of the slide, arguably every post is functional because you always want people to engage with it. But you want to look at the primary purpose of the post. So functional means it's informative. It's about an event. There's a specific call to action, which is something what you want the viewer to do. You want them to do something or you want them to know something. That's a functional post. We will be having a live stream service beginning this Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Time. That's functional. It's giving information to people, telling them when and where to be at a specific time. It might be information about, in this pandemic time, we're giving a lot of information about services that are available, whether it's, local schools that are providing lunches for people who need it, communities that are providing free internet access, or any sort of breaking news, anything that's specific to your church community or the broader community in which your ministry is located. So those are functional posts. Relational posts are designed for the purpose to connect. So they would have an emotional impact or experiential. So your live meditation, that's a relational post. You're building relation. Yes, you want them to meditate with you, but it's more about the emotional impact of that and providing something inspirational like a share graphic or sharing a great article that you found or sharing the virtual visual so that people can engage in prayer with silent unity. Anything like that, it's informative in a way, but really that's about building relationship and helping people to know that you are a place they can come and stay connected. I'd be curious to hear from our guests, just in terms of functional and relational, if you have noticed a shift in how you're approaching what you're posting and how you're engaging social media. And I would say, you can even get more specific to that, a difference between like 2 weeks ago and this week, because I think even since it has started, maybe at first you were really leaning towards functional, now you're relational. I don't know. I'm curious to hear.
Well, I found that with our live stream now, the new live stream platform that we've literally adapted for in response to this, both have been extremely necessary. Number one, people want up-to-date information because this is a rapidly changing environment. And so we're making certain that we're giving them information and tools that directly relates to the change of situation. If you recall, we started out with these rules. There's 500 people capable of gathering, and then 250, and then 50. So this de-escalation. So it was very important for us to be able to continue to bring them up-to-date information. And then the relational aspect as well was important, because now we're not face-to-face, not in the same building. And so we started making certain that within the content provided on the live stream broadcast, that there were touch points. And part of the ways in which we've done this is people are sending their emails in for prayer requests, or people are mailing in offerings. And so on the air, I'm acknowledging those things directly on air. I want to thank Miss Johnson for her letter reaching out for prayer, letting us know how she and her mother are doing. So now they're able to, across the platform, connect with us and relate to us, and they know that they can expect some kind of response to them, that we're there, we're paying attention, we're listening. And then we've given them a number of ways to reach into us in real time, whether that be text, email, Instagram, all of these different ways in which to relate to them. And I could say more, but that's a start. So yes, we've had to be very intentional about making sure that they have the information and the relationship, especially the relationship, because the way in which we related has changed so drastically.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Kevin. And I love how you're bringing that relational piece as not just about an inspirational post, but you're replacing a segment of what you would normally do in person. So thanking Miss Johnson for that letter, and that you're reminding everyone that prayer is covered. And when you do that, through social media right now, it invites other people to send a letter in, or send a comment in, or text a prayer need. And so, it's and I think of it as the time you would spend before or after your service, just quickly checking in with people. How are you able to do that now with distance? So thank you for that. Aaron?
It's like a virtual greeting line.
Yes, exactly. Temple has her hand up. Temple.
I love everything that Kevin is saying, and basically some of those similar things there. One of the things to keep that personal, just like their spirit circle groups that we've been doing, is having a lot of our core leaders do watch parties for our service, and then communicate with comments and things like that. So we have near and far all these new people that are part of our community, which are really exciting. And one of the things is that for me has been how we hold this, because to me, some of the things that we're doing, and Jackie, some of the amazing things that you're teaching right now, we're going to keep doing. So it's not going to be like we're doing this in place of what we used to do. We're going to continue to do these types of things because it's giving all of us an opportunity to get our Unity teachings in the world at a much deeper level. What I've started doing is going online with our community, with my Facebook, with my message, and encouraging people to join us online, so they get some of that relational, that it's not just, oh, this is our event and it's happening. And so they could engage, and inviting people to write their comments and things that are very important to them that we cover either that particular week or the following week. So it's really cool when you learn a language that, and your language changes very quickly, that it's like, forget about these people are at home and that they're not in your community, but to talk to them as if they still are. Turn to one another and say blah blah. Take time to do this and da da, and it's really been invigorating.
It is invigorating, and I love hearing you. I type that into the chat stream, integrate new ways of digital communication. So that's what you're doing is sort of, we've all been sort of catapulted into things that maybe we've been thinking about or building towards or, trying out. I can give you a very real example at Unity World headquarters is you all know that at 11 a.m. every day is the Silent Unity prayer service. And we've been doing that on Facebook Live. I have a feeling that's not going to go away. I have a feeling that's going to become a Facebook Live service ongoing, and because there's no reason not to, I mean, it's been well received. It allows ministers from all over the place to lead those prayer services. And it's a small group that comes on a regular basis. Sometimes if there's a retreat on site or World Day of Prayer, it'll be a bigger service. But from the day to day, it tends to be pretty small. So why not keep that out there?
And Jackie, we've been putting like our yoga class.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah.
Not just Sunday, because if you call yourself a campus, you need to exemplify that you are a campus. So it's not just Sundays. It's the 12 o'clock meditation. It's the yoga class. It's the prayer class. All of those, and it's been phenomenal how many people are tuning in.
So when there's a Facebook Live event or in real time a Facebook Live is in process, there is a button called Watch Party, and you can create a watch party. And what that does is it brings that Facebook Live feed onto your timeline, and you can invite people specifically. I know I'll get invited to some, and it'll show up in my messenger. And I'll also get notified if somebody has a watch party, that somebody has created it. So I'm getting pinged in a couple different ways, and it might pique my interest a little more. I think that there would be, we sometimes some ministries will have the Bring a Friend Sunday, and I think I would love to see Tag a Friend Sunday, or and so that you're tagging someone who maybe you wanted to invite, or someone who doesn't live in that community but you think would love. So you can invite your congregants to tag a friend on social media. But the watch parties are great because it creates a little community of people who are watching the same experience and a comment thread about that. So let me see, there are a couple other questions. I tried to connect to Silent Unity prayer service last week and couldn't find it. Okay, that will be on the main Unity page. Maybe you hadn't thought about it in terms of functional versus relational, but in working with those ideas, I think it's a way to clarify what you're doing, because sometimes even just in our regular lives and the regular cycle of a spiritual community, it can sometimes be difficult to think through how you're creating your content for social media. So really breaking down functional, you can ask yourself, are you providing opportunities for people to do something and know something, and are you providing the sort of that relational and that emotional and spiritual impact. Chase, you have a question.
Yeah, I had a question. I was wondering about creating original content versus just sharing or posting other materials and stuff, and what's the difference with that?
That's great. A great question. So the thing about sharing content is that you will, that's one way to be social on social media. And it tends to connect you with the people from whose page or profile that you shared information from. So it's a way to sort of cross-pollinate, and a shared post might not be fed out to as many of your followers. But if you have people who are engaged, then Facebook is really going to be generous in how they're feeding out any of your posts. We know that video, anything with images, pictures, and live videos are going to be fed out more by Facebook, because they know that people will tend to engage more with those types of posts. And because people do engage more with those types of posts, Facebook continues to feed those out. So it's kind of, which came first, the chicken or the egg? But what you can know is that even if your post is like a quote or just a reminder, we'll see you Sunday, or something that you might not have a share graphic or specific image for, even if you just put an image with it anyway, it will make it be delivered to more people. The answer, in short, is to do both, and to know that the original content will get fed out more than the shared content. Martha, are these algorithms affected similarly with sharing posts? The algorithms in Facebook is sort of what is used to determine how posts are responded to when they get fed into Facebook. And so the algorithms are set in Facebook. They want people to be engaged. They want people to respond. So anything that you do that will draw engagement, Facebook is going to feed to more people. They're going to reward you by giving even more. And if you think of it as Facebook is always promoting its own brand. So anything you can do to support the brand of Facebook, they're going to in turn support you in doing that kind of activity. All right, Candace.
We are in a congregation of older congregants, so what we've done is we record it on Zoom, and then it gets posted to YouTube, and then they put it on Facebook. Is that the best approach?
You're starting on Zoom, going to YouTube, and then sharing the YouTube link on your Facebook. What you want to know about Facebook, again, is they are first and foremost wanting to promote their own brand. So you want your videos to be native to Facebook as often as possible. So you can take that Zoom video that's downloaded to your computer and upload it to Facebook as a video. And that's going to do better than your YouTube link on video. So if you take YouTube video, share it to Facebook, Facebook is not going to roll that out to as many people as they would your natively posted video in Facebook. And if Zoom automatically goes to YouTube, let that happen, but take the video file and upload that file straight to Facebook, and that will help. And there, and I love that, what you're doing is you're responding to your community, your real-time community. I think it's true for a lot of Unity communities that, there tend to be a lot of people who are not on Facebook. And so the advantage of utilizing YouTube for videos, especially for services, is that you can email those links out to people, and they don't need to have Facebook in order to see them. Anyone can watch a YouTube video. So
and that's what we're doing too.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you.
Good. Yeah, very good role modeling there.
Hi. So what we've been doing, we've been live, my little group has been live streaming our service on Facebook for a while. But what I'm finding is, so because of the self-isolation, what we're doing is a Zoom recording and sharing it. Now, what I'm finding was when I had done this initially, Facebook was their copyright was flagging it because we were playing music. And I couldn't get around it. I reached out to Reverend Pat, who reached out to Sue Riley at Empower, but it's still happening. So what I'm doing is sharing just the message portion on Facebook and then providing a private link to YouTube to be able to get the full service with music. I've been reading online that there's issues that Facebook's AI bots and algorithms are getting kind of buggy. I don't know if it's just volume or if it's because they don't have much staff, or I don't know what the issue is. But we are licensed, but I don't know how do I prevent this from happening going forward? Because I'm worried about, because I know once you get flagged and they take away your ability to live stream, that's it, you're done. You can't, it's so almost impossible to get it back on.
Yes, and this is a very common, or let's see, we are all sharing this problem. And so there aren't any people sitting in Facebook land watching your video to see that it doesn't include copyrighted music. It's all bots. It's all done by computer, and the algorithms are designed to catch them now. And that's why it's imperfect. So somebody might, you might hear somebody is like, well, we stream every Sunday and all of our music's on and we've never been flagged. And yay for them. My guess is the audio quality was not that great in those particular videos. Facebook algorithms, the best way to get away with playing any kind of music is that the music almost sounds like background music. So the algorithms are very lax in that, because if you could just imagine that anyone anywhere is creating a video to post on Facebook and there's music in the background at an event or at home or anything like that, if it sounds like there is more background noise and more content noise and the music is clearly in the background, the algorithms are not going to flag those. What some people do is and I'm not recommending this unless you have good reason for it, they'll actually run a white noise track along with the music so that it creates enough sort of distance in where the music is coming from. So you do need to be really careful about that. And even in the case that you have, maybe you've purchased the license from Empower for broadcasting, or maybe you have another broadcast license for music elsewhere, it doesn't matter. They can still flag you, and after so many flags, you'll be blocked completely. There is a process that you can go through to get whitelisted, but it can be a very hairy and extensive process, and might not be done before your next service. So you just want to be mindful about how you're doing that. And I think a good solution is to exclude the music altogether, or you can go and keep doing it until you get flagged once, but and then change your plan. I don't really have solid advice for that because there are so many nuances to the decision that goes into that. But it is important to know that that they will flag you, and there's not a consistent method to that kind of madness.
May I make a recommendation?
Yes.
There are ways to get the music in, but what's important is that it's performed music that has been performed by a choir or some other group, not necessarily recorded music. So, for example, if you have someone who sang that song live themselves, and they were actually the vocalist and instrumentalist, etc., what you would want to do is go back through your own archives, or maybe the archives of another Unity ministry, and ask them, can you get a clip so that you can then edit that into the broadcast? Because they don't flag performed music. The algorithms can actually read the actual music that is on those recordings, and so they have a way of knowing recorded music that's copywritten, etc. But if it's performed music, like let's say Richard McDeesey is performing some wonderful piece, and he's performed it at convention, and everybody loved that piece from convention. Maybe we want to call and say, can you clip up some music that I can edit into my service, so that I can have music for my service that won't get me, flagged onto Facebook. So that may be a workaround. Getting just going without no music, because I know how hard that could be as well. Just a thought.
Yes, that's a great thought, Kevin. Thank you. Erin, I see you're back on. Did you want to jump in on content and functional versus relational posting?
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you, Jackie. My biggest knowing was that our first thing was to get relational. The first thing we needed to do is to get people together. So I made sure that in our initial email, when we said that the community was going to be physically closed and all online, I made sure that we had a Facebook group ready and the links so that people could not just interact with the Facebook page that only goes out to the people, but that they could support each other and react and interact with each other. So we made sure to get that page ready so that it was in the initial email, because I knew the second that email went out, you have a gap whether or not you can catch everybody back again. So we made sure that it was the initial one, knowing that that was going to be shared more than anything else. And so right now we have almost 200 people on our Facebook group, which is great because that gives us a location that we can post. It's an interactive group on Facebook. Everyone can connect with each other, they can communicate with each other, and they can support each other. So we went there to our online offerings, and we tried space out so that there would be options for people at different times of the day, knowing that we don't want people actually sitting on their phones or sitting on the internet all day long, unless they want to, but that they have times they can tap in. So we've tried to communicate that, but we do the Daily Word at 10. We have a Zoom call at 12, and they have different topics, one for people that are missing love and want to connect. And you can see here on the top screen of that Facebook group, we put our core offerings. So all of the core UVC online on there, and then everyone can post. So then we have a noon, we have 3 o'clock Facebook, and then we have some evenings. And then the Daily Word is not the whole Daily Word, because they don't want you to do that. They want you to just put a piece. So we just say the word of the day and the affirmation. And then that one goes every day. The other ones are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So people have a break. There's no core activities Monday, Friday, or Saturday, just so that they know we won't be there on those days, but they can still connect. The Tuesday night one is an all call. It's a community all call. So if they have questions, if they just want to connect, we do that there. When the Zooms during the week are the ones that, like, if people are missing the affection and the physical touch, there's one for them. If anyone is immune system compromised or feel like they're in the categories that we're talking about with the pandemic, they were already going through a cancer treatment and cancer diagnosis, that one's a strength and wellness one. And then there's an interactive prayer one. And then we've just taken the time to connect in greater ways. So for our Wednesday night meditation, we've had Daniel Nahmad, we've had Faith Rivera. We're having different guests so we can just have that feeling that we're doing something greater than we would be doing before, so we can all come together in greater ways. So that's been really good, and it's been great to see that, within this short period of time, about 200 people hopped on Facebook that weren't on there before. So I think as far as the relational, it's been getting people together right away. And then we worked on posting what all the activities are. And we did just these core activities up until now. And then in the beginning of April, in a week, we're launching spirit groups. So our leaders have been, really great at, even if they're not comfortable online, they said, okay, I'm going to try it. So we've got them online. They're going to do spirit groups for this next April on session, so we can try to get everyone connected to a group.
Are the spirit groups going to be Facebook groups, or are you going to use Zoom, or what platform?
They are going to be Zoom as well. We chose Zoom to be the one place that we get together and, do interactive, like Brady Bunch style. So we have like a Sunday discussion group. We have the noon Zoom. So anytime that we're interacting like that, we Zoom. And we're also doing tutorials for people so that if someone doesn't know how to use it, they can have a safe place to start using it, and then letting them know too that we can help them so that they can use that with their family that they might not be physically connecting with. As far as Sunday morning and music and this and that, at first, I had someone come to my house and do some music, and I did a little music. Upon reflection, I know that, our Sunday streams are usually an hour and we have a lot of people that live stream, but for all of the folks that don't live stream and they're usually in-house and they're used to that experience, being on the phone isn't necessarily everyone's delight, you know what I mean? And so I really have taken it easy as far as making sure that it's exactly the same as Sunday morning. Like, life isn't the same right now. It's different. And so I think as long as they get the message, that's the most impactful. And, some people, we know that when they're in the sanctuary, they'd like to get the message and run out anyway, with no announcements or this or that. So we're just being creative in that regard. And we decided as staff that we were going to pick people over polished, and that we were going to focus on offering spiritual nourishment and not worrying yet if everything looks smooth or if we're doing an edited show. I think that's great if people already have the skill sets to do that and are used to doing it, and you can get it rolling really easy. That's wonderful. But I think it's also totally okay right now to go authentic and to go connection and to meet people where they are, knowing that everything is different right now. And so, for any other ministers out there, I would encourage you, even if it's just getting a meditation and the talk online, go for it. Just let it be that, and let it be simple if you need to, so that there's not a heightened sense of stress at this time, but there is a heightened sense of spiritual nourishment going out and reaching the community.
Yeah, that's really important, Erin. And I, because I think we can all get caught up in, having to do it right and putting our best, foot forward. We certainly wouldn't let the sanctuary be trashed, before a Sunday service. But right now, it really is about the connection, and there is time to evolve in through the technology. But right now, and especially if you are someone who doesn't have tech support and you're just doing all of it yourself, just take it easy, keep it simple. Right? Just do it.
Yeah.
There were a couple questions. One is if anyone can join the UVC group, or if the administrator admits them. And so I typed in just a little bit about group settings. And so you can go ahead and answer how that group setting is done.
Yeah. So for ours right now, it's open, but you can correct me, Jackie, if I'm wrong, but there's a setting where if someone is a friend of a friend, They can automatically come in, and otherwise they need to be approved. So right now we have it set at that, just so that everyone can flood in. We are going to very soon change it to everyone needs to be approved. And our hope is really that everyone that's on there is someone that is a part of the BC community, that they either watch the live stream or they come to service or they check in every once in a while on the live stream. But it's not just a viewing gallery, that it really is a community living room. So
that's great. That's really important. Yeah, to point out that, because what that does is it keeps a clear intention for the purpose of the group, and if you want to have, your page is for the world, so that's the purpose of your page. Anybody can access your page, but a group like that is for a specific purpose. And so I think that's a really good way to keep that purpose clear, and then it really lets it be for the actual community. And I remember I'm in that group, and I remember seeing someone who had planned their first Sunday was going to be that first Sunday that there was no service. But somehow they connected with someone, and so they've joined the group, and so they are, and how amazing is that? They're already going to be connected with everyone, so when they walk back into the doors for the first time, how much more at home, and what a great opportunity that you were able to have the foresight to have that group established and well communicated out to your community, that new person, without having ever set foot in the door, was able to connect. So again, the page is for the world. Go ahead.
And it was even better than ever, because your hope as a minister is always that people will greet them and they will meet them and connect with them, but that doesn't always happen on Sunday morning. Sometimes they come in and they get handshakes or hugs or little hellos, but they don't really get to connect. And this person, I had it on my list, introduce this person to the community in a post so people can greet them. When I went online to do that, she had already introduced herself to everyone in the group and said, "Hi, I'm here, I'm new, it was going to be my first," and then everyone chimed in to welcome her. So very organic. She feels totally loved, connected. And then we're working on also getting her connected with our 20 somethings and 30 somethings, and people that otherwise, it would have taken how many Sundays, or you feel like it's on you completely to get someone integrated in the community. So it's been great in that regard. So we are going to make it so that it's all approval based soon. One of the things that we did as well, so that it's clear what the group is about, we created rules. So you can create rules on your groups, right? And the first rule is that you are either, a live streamer, a congregant, that you're either somehow connected with me as a minister or UVC as a community. And that's the first rule. And then it goes into things like, not doing self promotions and this and that, respecting everyone, in the space. We did put on there as one of the rules, trying not to talk about COVID, leaving that on your personal page, not on the group. But we haven't really done anything to manage that. And there have been, quite a few posts on that. I think that's probably totally okay right now. But whatever it is that you would want on your guidelines for what that group is, there's a place where you can do groups. And you can also then tag videos. So since we're doing so much online content, is it called a tag or a label? It's called something funny on the group topic, something like that. But you can make all of these folders so that every video you do, if you do it and it's on youth, it goes into a folder so that they can, all of the media that you have later on, the sermons, community posts that are just inspirational, ones that are funny, humor. So you can make all these tags so that people can hop back in at any time and see anything that they missed as far as the videos or the content.
Yeah, that's great. And another thing about groups is you can upload files. So if you were, teaching a class, if you're going to have a Zoom class or whatever, and you want to provide files there, or if, like I know Unity Arts Ministry is creating coloring pages for children, that could be a file, different things like that. So Temple, you've had your hand up for a bit. I'm going to go ahead and call on you.
Oh, with what Aaron was saying, I just wanted to add that in this, to not forget activities for the children and for the kids. So we started our own Facebook page for the kids, and the spiritual leaders of the children's ministry, they're inviting the parents, they're uploading videos and singing Unity songs, and they're sharing a lot of activities. And I just feel that's really important, doing story time for kids, reading them things. And even if you're quick to say, well, we don't have any kids, build it and they will come.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And I love that, Erin, in your schedule, you had the spirit break for kids, or kids spirit break. So that was awesome. Kevin.
I wanted to just tag in with that same comment, how important it is to make certain to include something for the children. And so one of my hidden talents is puppeting. And so I created this character several years ago that I use with my own children that suddenly now is front and center, that I've incorporated into the weekly live stream broadcast called Kayvon Martin. And because we have a pretty fun ministry, my music minister created a song for him, and we released his first video yesterday, Spirit Loves the Little Children. And you can check out our stuff on Unity of Sacramento on YouTube if you want to see it quickly, but it's on all of our platforms. But what we found is that parents are now bringing their children into the live stream platform to watch, what is Kayvon going to do this week or say this week or that sort of thing. So it's been a lot of fun just getting creative and being able to connect our kids into the live stream platform as well. So I agree. I just wanted to say I agree to that.
I love it. It's so good. I did not yesterday, but last Sunday, I did a live stream talk for ministry. And during the time of the service where you would normally bless the kids, I had a little toddler come sit on my lap who's in my home, and had her there as we did the prayer for protection. And I think, and I've seen a lot of live streams with Brandon from Unity Village Chapel with his two girls, on his lap while he's doing his thing. And I think that, the reality, Erin, when she talked about being on this call, was like, well, I might have, little G, right? And the reality is we are all in our homes along with all the other people who are in our homes. Now, I couldn't get the teenagers to agree to come in and do the prayer for protection or anything, but I think that that's just such a valuable piece of a gift that we can actually take from this experience, is that we are, inviting people into our homes in many cases in different ways than we normally would, where, when we're doing our work, we're trying to do it as adults, separate as our different roles as parents, or anyone in a child's life, a grandparent or aunt or uncle. So it's an opportunity to show the fullness of who we are as spiritual leaders in our very human capacities as well. And I think that goes along with the same lines of, not worrying about being so polished. Some of my work that I do from home, I need silence as much as possible in the house. A lot of it I don't. And so, you might hear a teenage, rumble, or you might hear a toddler scream in the background, and that's just got to be okay right now. And, so again, it's like we got to sort of triage the level of things that we would normally consider polished and professional to, the current reality. That's just, does it really matter? Is that really going to offend you if you hear, a child's voice? Oh my, if that's the case. So Martha Creek has put some resources by Real Need to Be Real Right Now. 5 ways to get better at preaching, speaking directly into the camera. Yes, and it's not to say that we can't improve our skill set for, being on camera, and, but also that's not first and foremost, doesn't have to be the focus right now. And I would say that depends on who you are and at what level you have a staff and team to help you. If you are well supported, you might be able to spare some time right now to, to make sure that you have an in-home location with good lighting and good audio. You might, have time to look up some resources to, provide a better experience when you're doing your service online. And if you don't, that's okay. Just do it anyway.
I do want to speak to those ministries for a moment that do have teams and do have resources at your disposal, and you are in states where you are still allowed to actually go to your physical property. Some of us can go to our campuses and do certain work. I think this is a golden opportunity to hone and refine your production quality for your live stream, because real talk, they're going to be coming back, and and some are not going to be coming back at all. Why? Because you're connecting with people who are across the nation and around the world, when you're doing live stream. And so if you have an opportunity to refine and try some things out that you didn't have the time for because you had to be in 10,000 meetings and all of that, this is a golden opportunity to refine it. And we've grown our live stream community now by 4 times in 2 weeks, simply because we've had more time to focus and refine it. And there's some techniques that you can be using, editing software that you can engage, and put your imagination to use. I want to just encourage everyone to take on some thinking around, if I were starting my ministry, and this is something that we kind of got obsessive about in 2019, had no idea that COVID would be on its way. But we asked this question toward the end of 2019. If we were establishing our ministry in 2020, what technologies would we be embracing to start it with? What would be the ways in which we would be trying to communicate with the world that is and the world that is coming? And what are we doing now that would be considered obsolete if we were starting? And we just got very almost obsessive in that question. And what we did, it allowed us to take a fine-tooth comb through our ministry and just look at ways in which things were obsolete, ways in which things wouldn't translate today. And we got very busy, and it did cause us to put a lot of energy into the live streaming, online giving app, and developing an app, looking at using push pay. Like, most people can pay their bills right through their cell phones. Well, we got busy asking people to give online giving, not online, but reoccurring gifts through our app and that sort of thing. And fortunately, by the time COVID kicks in, we were well into the campaigns for these things. So what I would encourage other leaders to be thinking about is, in what ways can I modernize? Can I be forward thinking with my ministry and the resources that I have, and with the resources that I have? And if you are a ministry that has the kind of capacity to experiment and try new things, I think this is we have a window of opportunity to really refine it without a lot of interruption and a lot of ways in which we can't concentrate. So I'll just offer that as well.
Yeah, I love that. And that is so true. We have a unique time carved out for us to really refine and hone those skills. And I would just say, not to let the learning curve keep you from starting at whatever level you can start now. And because some of it will come by experience. You will forget to silent your cell phone while you're recording into your laptop, and it'll go off with "Who Let the Dogs Out," ringtone that you have. You'll never make that mistake again while you're so there are some things that you will learn simply by doing it. I would invite you to practice between Sundays, and just to know that getting started is the biggest hurdle, and that you can then take other time to really hone and refine those skills, and to watch your videos. And just like when you're practicing, in seminary, you're practicing your talks, you watch the video back so that you can decide what that background that I thought was really cool is kind of like cheesy or does not work. Or like I have behind me, that's a window into my dining room, and I know if the light is on in there and somebody walks through, you can see them. So everybody knows, if I'm out here, keep the light off, and if you walk through, you might be on camera. Those are things that you're going to learn. So yes, very good words, Kevin. Erin, I see you're back and you were about to say something.
So talking of technical difficulties, I have people doing siding on my house, and I tried to go in the bathroom and the internet connection wasn't there. So I've been going around to different places, logging in and logging off. So I wanted to say too, that any of the resources that we have available, the images and stuff that we've made, I think we use the program Canva, but if Diane Vanzera can pull up that web page that we have for our groups, any of these images on here, feel free to use them to just edit them and put your information on. So if that helps anyone out, don't feel like you need to design your own. You can just change the title of the class and go ahead and use those resources. So
okay, we've lost audio with you, Erin, but there you can see Diane scrolling through the different graphics And those are great examples. And yeah, this is not a time where you need to
Yeah,
feel
there you
compelled
go.
okay, there she's back. But you don't have to feel compelled to reinvent the wheel. Like Erin's saying, you can use these graphics, just remove their logo, add your own logo, adjust the times and phone numbers and those kinds of details, the meeting IDs, if you will. But you can look through that, have your communications person, or if you have a graphic designer on staff, look through those things and get ideas. So this is a time to really lean in and share resources and ideas, so that again, we aren't all trying to reinvent the wheel. Please repeat the program. So she talked about Canva. Yes, thank you, Brenda. Canva, it's a very easy to use platform for creating those kinds of share graphics. So you don't have to know how to use Photoshop or anything like that. As we've talked about content, a lot about content, which has been fantastic. Content is king, as they say. And posting frequency, we've just spent a lot of time talking about functional versus relational posts, and which goes into presentation, which we kind of got into, and scheduling. So social media scheduling, you may have a great habit for that. Maybe you do a monthly schedule. Some people do it quarterly. Some people do it weekly. Hopefully you've already been doing that, because it really helps you to keep a bird's eye view on the content. But during this time, our information, like you've heard, is coming in so quickly, sometimes daily, sometimes hourly, sometimes weekly. And so it's important to, have your plan so that you can really map out your functional posts, your relational posts, how often you're going to go live, what, you're training. Think of it as training your followers to know when to tune into you, but then also have a willingness to be flexible during this time, so that and if you start with a schedule, it's going to create more brain space and in your head. You can also use a program like Hootsuite. That's a very simple one to use to do scheduling. So you can put your Instagram account in there. I think you can do up to 3 for free. So you can do a Facebook page and an Instagram account and a Twitter account and schedule your posts out for the month or the week. And then you can go in and edit those if they need to be changed as time goes by, or if you need to add a picture to it later, you can go back in before it's scheduled to post, add a picture in, and that way you've got it all kind of mapped out, and you can have other staff members also be able to log into it, so you're sharing the work. But that scheduling is going to create and free up, I'll say, some brain space for you. So let's talk about engagement. And you'll see on the right-hand side of the slide, I have community brand. And that's not just your spiritual community, but it's also the brand of the community, of the broader community that you live in. And I think we always need to keep that in mind, because we are always in a context. And you know that, and you might be thinking, well, okay, but how does that relate to us? Well, we are each experiencing this pandemic in a very different way. As Kevin, presents, some people can still go to their buildings to work, some cannot. Some have, more have more cases registered. Some are not. Some communities don't. So we are all in our own context. So it's not just the spiritual community, and your spiritual community may skew older, which is very common in Unity. So you might have more people with, who are in the risk groups, the high risk groups. So your stress level within your spiritual community might be one way, and that may or may not reflect the broader community that your ministry is in. So having an awareness of both is really important during this time, so that you're communicating out to your community in the way that they need to be served, but also to your broader community who might be, looking for spiritual support right now. And that being said, I want to throw in that now's not the time to do a lot of sponsored promotion. I've seen several posts of people who are complaining about churches who bought sponsored ads, because you can tell it says sponsored underneath it, and that can sort of, there's just a high acute awareness of profiteering off of this pandemic, and that's very different than what I'm talking about in terms of being relevant to not just your spiritual community, but the bigger community that is your context. So engagement is really about the reactions, which are like, love, laugh, wow, sad, mad, that you'll see underneath the Facebook post, comments, and shares. And so you want people to engage with you on social media. It's called social media, right? And so therefore, you also need to be engaging with them. So if somebody leaves a comment on a post, comment back, even if it's just a, thank you, or we agree, or couldn't have said it better, or thumbs up, but giving some kind of a comment back, lets people know that you're listening. You're not just, shouting at them all the time. And then here's the asterisk with videos, images, and live videos will draw engagement. So we know the more sort of media that you have in your post, the more Facebook will feed it out and the more people who will consume your content. So right now is a time when we want people to be engaged. We want people to be communicating back and forth. And you have to, in part, model that within your post, but also then respond when they do. Hey, Kevin.
I wanted to just also add around engagement. Ministers are in a very unique position right now to be the liaison between your city, county, federal government on getting information out to people, because this is what is top of mind for everybody. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen next? And I know a lot of our unity ministers are involved in either interfaith groups or groups that are connected with the city, county, local governments, etc. That information that, for example, I'm on calls with our governor, I'm on calls with our mayor or groups, that information that I'm able to get, I have the ability to now report that out week after week. We're also in a space now where the census is occurring, and many churches are sites for the census. Are you a site? Being relevant, in terms of the broader community, can help not only make you a ministry that shows up as caring, but also it can raise your profile within the larger community. Sometimes our unity communities can grow simply by providing services that everybody needs, and then it offers many ways in which people can access other information. One of the things that we are is a site for distribution of meals. Right now a lot of children are out of school, and so those that were on free and reduced lunch programs are food dependent upon getting their lunches. And so our campus is a site where 1,000 lunches are packed every week for kids who would ordinarily not get an opportunity to do that. And so we have this Unity Angel Response team that is coming on campus, those that within the guidelines, packing, and then folks are coming and shipping those lunches off. How can we raise our profile, being responsive to what's going on with the capacity that we have, and ensure that Unity, the Unity community, Unity Church or Unity campus within this particular city, state, county is a light and a guiding light for those in this particular crisis. So I think there are a number of ways to be a liaison. And now that we have the online platforms to report out, like Reverend Patricia did today for the Worldwide, she was able to grab some information about the new stimulus package, and she sent a blast out to all of us ministers to let us know that there's some benefit to us. I think that's very important for us to be doing at this time, and because people are concerned, they need that. So I'll just stop right there.
That's great information, Kevin. If I put in the chat stream, how can your empty campus provide a service during this time? And that's relevant, and being relevant, being a heart of service to your community. And then how do we communicate that out through social media is kind of the follow-up in what we're talking about. But that goes back to what we started about, functional and relational posts, and can you be a voice of an effort of disseminating information that is critical right now, whether it's about the census, whether it's about community resources that are available through you or through other entities that maybe you support. Most ministries support some community service in their town and their city. So is there a way that you can further partner with them to help serve your congregation and help your congregation serve its community? So it's that trickle down effect. So it's right now we're sort of that triage as we or you put on your own oxygen mask first and then help those around you. So now that some time has passed and you're helping your congregations, how can your congregations be equipped to support, even from a distance, those around them? And that is by sharing of accurate information. But great, thank you for that, Kevin. Let's go forward to insights. I want to take you, let's see if I can share my screen here. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you to the UWM. Diane, can you see that? So when you are an admin on a page and you go to it, it looks like this. I always like to give the disclaimer, this is my own Facebook account, so if a message pops up or what, I don't know what's going to happen. But you'll see across this top bar here, page, inbox, events, creator studio, manage jobs, notification. Under more, you'll see insights. And that's different. Insights used to be one of these tabs up here. So if you're used to seeing it there, it's just one level down. And what insights will do is give you an indication of what the activity on your page has been. And so right now it defaults to the last 7 days, but you can also go to yesterday, the last 7 days, today, or the last 28 days. So for UWM, you can see the actions on the page are this, the page views, we have 1,400, page previews, 148, so that's like, in the news feed, page likes, and these little numbers here tell you how that's compared to the previous 27 days. Or if your setting is at 7 days, it'll show you compared to the previous. So it's up 260%. The post reach is up 476%. So what that tells me is that more people are coming to the UWM page, more people are liking it, and more people in the last month are also, and because of the heightened activity, Facebook is feeding out the posts to more people. It's reaching more people. That's in part due to people sharing and reacting to the posts, and also to the heightened activity. You'll see post engagement over 13,000. Videos, and the thing about Facebook is 3-second views. They count a view at 3 seconds, and YouTube is 30 seconds. So you might notice that you have more views on a video on Facebook than you do on YouTube, but that's because people have to watch it longer on YouTube in order to get it to count as a view. The reason I want to bring this to your attention is because right now, and I'm going to ask our presenters if you've noticed a change on your metrics over, if you track them over the last month. And so you can go to, you'll see the left-hand side here, you can go to any of these specific categories. So let's say page views, and it'll give you more information, the day by day. If you go to, here we go, total people viewed, top sources, if they're coming in from Google, MailChimp, the website, Facebook, all of those kinds of things. And then if you go to posts, you can actually see each individual post, and you can see the type. So if it was a video, a photo, if it was a link, you can see the reach and engagement. And so what you can do is, at a glance, you can go through and you can see which kinds of posts got the most engagement and got the most reach. And then you can do more of that. The other thing you can want to pay attention to is time of day and days of the week. By and large, the morning is an optimal time to post. But if you watch the behavior of the people who are your followers, so if you go to people, you can see where people are coming from. So you can see plenty of, we've got Spanish, we've got Spain, Portuguese, Germany. We have all over the United States. We've got cities and countries here. Women, 75%, probably no surprise there, of the followers are women, 24% being men. And then it breaks it down by age group. So what you can do is, when you get into your insights, and just make it a habit of, even if you don't want to do anything about it right now, of just getting in there and looking through it, and do that maybe a couple times a week. And then you want to start responding to what you're seeing on your insights. And then also, I'm asking the guest if you've seen a change in your, my hypothesis would be that you would have seen a similar change as UWM, in that everything is spiking. But that's just a guess. Some of you may already have been doing social media so well that there's not really much of a spike. So I would just be curious. Aaron, you have anything to say about that? Is Aaron on? Or Temple? I do see Aaron.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. This Temple, tremendous increase in engagement, and from all over. And I do feel, not to keep preaching the same idea, but these watch parties have been amazing, because it expands our reach, 100-fold. And it's not like, you probably know, Jackie, in the early days, a lot of people paid for Facebook likes, but then you regretted it. I didn't do it, but I know a lot of organizations that did. So they would have hundreds of thousands of Facebook likes, but if you look at the comments and the engagements, there was nothing going on. So yes, just to keep it simple, yes, it's on one way we increased by 565 likes in 3 days, 767% increase. So a lot of these things, just like you're finding at UWM.
Wonderful and not surprising. And one thing I'll say is if you do something like sometimes if something big happens in the nation and just in your community, let's just so if for here, Kansas City, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I mean, hey, let's bring that up. Okay, so you might see after some event a spike in those who are following your page or engaging your page, and then over the coming weeks you might see some of those likes drop off, and just know that that's normal. And not to be discouraged by that, because what it means is maybe someone who is interested in the moment, and this is a moment we're having, all of us, this shared moment, and not to be discouraged or surprised even if over time you see some of those likes fall off, but also even while you're losing some, you're going to be gaining even more because you've reached so many more people. So just trust that. So that's one reason I like to look at the 28 days, because it kind of shows, it gives you just a longer trajectory, and as opposed to the 7, if you or even just day by day, you can see like sometimes huge spikes and drops, and that can sort of be maddening in a way of like, what did we do? And you don't want to course correct in that way. You really want to look over the long term, because as in everything, right, we're always seeking balance.
May I also add, if I missed this, I apologize. We are also doing a new thing with our media team where we post our events on Eventbrite. Has somebody else said that we post our Sunday service, our yoga?
No, we haven't talked about that yet. Go ahead and talk about Eventbrite.
Okay, so we post all of our events on Eventbrite and invite people. We create a Facebook page and an Eventbrite page where people can register that they are attending. And we've seen a lot of activity. It's broadened again our community, our spiritual community, because like everybody listening to this call, we plan to keep, in whatever ways we can nurture, this new emergence of people as part of our spiritual community.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. I want to do a walkthrough, so I'm going to share my screen of the Facebook watch parties, and just again invite everyone, if you're not talking, to mute your channel. There we go. So you should be seeing, so now we're back on the UWM Facebook page, and this is the update from Reverend Patricia. So just a little behind the scenes on this. She pre-recorded it this morning and dropped, she sent it to me in Dropbox. I did a little editing, just clipping the front and the back, and then I live streamed it at 10 o'clock through Switcher Studio, which is an app that I have been working with, and it's super intuitive, and it allows you to do things like I created this title card right in Switcher Studio, and I can tap it on and off, and the title card of her name was all in there. So it's and that's Switcher Studio. So and then you can run live from there, or you can do a pre-record. You can also add pre-recorded videos. So if, for example, Aaron McCabe had also sent me a video, I could live stream both of them together, cutting from Patricia to Aaron, all in real time. But what I want to show you here is, I want to show you here is the watch party. So you'll see this icon right there, and it's a little bucket of popcorn, right? Who doesn't love popcorn? And that's what we eat when we watch together with friends or with a group. So if I hit start right there, I can share it on my timeline, in a group, or on a page I manage. So if I'm in the Unity Village Chapel Facebook group, if I'm an admin there or a member, I might share it there so that people can join me with the watch party, or I might want it to go on my own timeline. And then of course I can, choose who sees it. If I'm going to share it to a group, I'm going to need to choose the group here. And then I would hit start. So that is a very simple demonstration of the watch party. Try it. You'll like it. All the cool kids are doing it. Thank you, Diane, for putting Switcher Studio in there. I know some people are using, I think it's StreamYard. And again, it's a way to, the thing with Switcher Studio is you can create multiple cameras. So if I have an iPhone and an iPad, I could put one up and to my left and one to my right and cut between the two cameras. I can also bring someone in through video chat who's in an entirely different location, depending on what level you pay for a subscription. So it's a way that some people who are wanting to bring their music director in, on a Sunday service, for example, or someone else who's in a different location. Last week when we did Reverend Patricia's first Facebook Live update, that was actually live. And she was at home, I was at home, my home, she was at her home, and I just brought her in through video chat, and we were live in real time. And she had sent me a share graphic that she wanted me to, put up. So when it came time to that, I was able to run tech completely from my phone. So that's just, one. I can go ahead and, Diane, will you find StreamYard? It's either StreamYard or YardStream is another app that a lot of people are using. Wirecast. I think Wirecast actually helps you run a video that's pre-recorded and run it live. So anyway, and then OBS, that's another one. It's a little more technically complicated, if, in my opinion, and I'm a tech person, and so I just tend to err on the side of simplicity. And I will say Switcher Studio is, I think, the app that I've been most impressed with of all apps, because it is so intuitive and so simple and provides everything that I would think a layperson who's not like a video tech person or professional would need and know how to use, and it serves me as a video professional. So vMix is great. We also have vMix. We've used that for World Day of Prayer. It's a little more expensive and in some ways a bit outdated. So, but don't tell them I said that. It's perfectly fine if you want to use it. It doesn't have everything that I need for it to use, but we do have it and have used it before. So yeah, StreamYard, vmix.com, those are all great platforms. And I've thought about doing, and let me know if anyone would be interested in like a Switcher Studio tutorial, because I've got my whole video team using it, and I've used it to do my own Sunday services, and I'm doing it for a lot of Unity stuff as well. So it's just the more I use it, the more I love it. So that's the plug for Switcher. And Kevin, you've got your hand up.
I just want to add that as we are more and more recognizing that the engagement is increasing and that we want to expand our capacity to be able to share our live stream offerings over multiple platforms, there are a lot of resources that have been called out. And depending on the scale and size of your ministry, I would think that there's some that are more appropriate than others. So one, I want to say that if I can be of support beyond this from someone on our media team that can, kind of answer specifically what we're doing that might be helpful to you, we'd be happy to offer anyone on our team to answer questions. But I also want to say that what all of us in our Unity movement are benefiting by is this explosive growth and engagement with us as people are becoming more comfortable with checking out our ministries anonymously through social media, watch parties, and all of this. And they may choose to stay, but they may never come into our buildings. And so I want us to be okay with the fact that the world is changing, right before our eyes, and the models in which we are have grown accustomed to and ways in which our ministry looks may also need to change with this tremendous change that's occurring. And all of that to say, robust online, active, and engaged social media outreach may be just the thing that is the change for your ministry, and moreover, that gets our unity message out in ways that we could have never imagined prior to this. And so my word is to encourage us to continue to develop those outreaches, and you're going to have virtual members that are going to be a part of your community from now on. So how can we continue to nurture them? How can we continue to feed them? How can we adapt so that our following is beyond our campus and walls, and that this becomes the way in which our Unity Worldwide Ministries enters the 2020 and beyond reality. So I just wanted to offer that. And my email address is kross@unityofsacramento.com. Put that in the chat if someone wants to contact me afterwards.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. And I just want to say to that end that even before this present situation, so I ask everyone to mute their microphones, studies have shown that people are sniffing you out online, whether it's through your website or your social media, on an average of 6 months before they ever step foot on your campus, ever come into the sanctuary. That 6 months. So you might imagine that now you're getting maybe an uptick in your social media, and maybe that's driving traffic to your website. And that doesn't mean that as soon as you open your doors, they're going to come barging in. So they might need more time, and we just don't know, because this is unprecedented. And of course, the statistics of what previously was true, may not be true now. But to know that it's always important to be aware of how up to date your website is, how engaging you are on social media, because people are watching you long before they will ever introduce themselves to you. That's all we have today. Thank you so much for joining me.